Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here with my review of Wave 4 of the Power Rangers Legacy figures. Mostly. The reason I say that, and that'll probably be in the description too, is because this wave is said to include the Zeo Ranger number 2 yellow. I don't know why I started with the, but yeah. It advertises on the back of the box. As of this recording, everyone that I've known that has found any of these figures, whether they're all together or separate, has not seen her. Like I said, as of this recording. So if you're in the future, or if for some reason, like within the time I put this up, it just happens to be found, but it's not been found, I haven't found it, and I didn't want to sit on this review for forever. Basically, that's happened to me a couple times where I've been uber late on things because I've sat on stuff while waiting for something that was quite far off. So I wanted to get a review out of these now because it's already kind of late. As far as Zeo 2 goes, I will probably throw her in with the next wave should she make an appearance. So I just want to state that right off the bat so I don't get the, oh, you're missing Tanya comment. Stop writing the word retro. Anyway. Let's get started with what is probably the most controversial wave of this set. So where to begin? Let's start with the most famous guy in this, Connor, because he becomes a famous soccer player. No, I'm kidding. I think that's what happened in the SPD thing. Anyway, so this wave has so many controversies, and I don't think it helps that a lot of people were excited for Dino Thunder and Zeo figures. But yeah. Starting with Connor is actually a good place to start, because I think he's one of the stronger points of the wave. It's basically using the same mold we've come accustomed to. Standard ball joint here, you got your double knee joints, you got your little ball joints here. It's a little bit changed, but it's mostly the same. There's something I wanted to mention with, I think it's either gold or green. No, it wasn't him, but it was the Zeo one. You got the holsters that fall off, my favorite thing. We'll see that in the metallic review, because that was filmed before this, but this is coming out before it, timey-wimey. You got the little joint here. I don't know if you can hear it, but it has that clicky bit, but nice articulation. You got the ball joint here. You have the only one kind of hands. It is obnoxious that you have the different colored ball joint to that. The Thundersource Morpher is sculpted correctly, but not painted. You have these little bolts here. See, these are like little things I could honestly deal with. They're annoying, but they build up. The ball joint's a different color, whatever. That's not painted, whatever. There's little studs, like he got nails in his biceps, whatever. But it's like, they all build up. But other than that, I think the details are mostly there. I think the symbol's well done. They actually have a nice, shiny gold for the symbol. I think the head sculpt on him is well done. It looks accurate to me. It's got a nice smooth shine that this one had. He's one of the ones I'm most happy with. Very pleased with it. Again, like a lot of people, I was excited about this. I love me some Dino Thunder. I love me some Alba Ranger. They do come with the Thunder Max Blasters. I think that's what they're called, because I feel like they always just say Sabers, which is a hybrid. This is what happens if a generic 5-inch figure Power Rangers weapon that has one type of plastic mated with a Legacy figure weapon. That's a weird image. Let's get past it. And it's not as well detailed. And there's stuff missing, but honestly, the most glaring thing, just painted that red, man. It's like what makes that stand out. I'm going to leave that off because, again, the holsters are always falling off on these. So he is not really that disappointing, to be honest. Except when he falls over. That's another problem I have. Oh, lordy, Connor. What are we going to do with you, man? Anyway, okay, now on to Ethan. For the most part, I don't have really that huge a problem with him outside of the same problems persisting here. This could be a personal thing, but I feel like the head sculpt is a little bit off. Not really as glaring as some, but there's something off about it. It looks like a little pudgy, like his chin comes out here. There's something much sleeker and pronounced about Blue's helmet, and I think I noticed it more because he's one of my favorite helmets in this series, and I feel like the horns are a bit more pronounced. Like I said, it's not awful, because I've had some that are really weird, some that even I liked the change, but it was clearly not the way the show was. It's just something off. Not terribly, but there's something off about it. But yeah, basically everything I said about Connor's with the color blue. You even have the shiny gold paint there. I don't remember if I called attention to this. I don't think I did, but I still think the hinge joint is a weird choice. Like again, I'm going to mention this in the metallic review, which was recorded before this, because I don't know why. But I've never seen any other toys do that. I mean, I'm sure there is, but nothing that I've collected. Okay, here who is, I think, the second best figure in this wave, which is Zeo Ranger 4. I think the Zeo ones were very important, because they're very special to a lot of people. Even though I think the season's a little bit overrated, it also is a nostalgic season for me. I love the suits. A lot of people love the suits. Bottom line is, it's a popular season. And I don't know why I said that like a weird a comedian or something. I don't know. I distracted myself. But Zeo was in one of the seasons in the most need of an update. Outside of Zeo 5 getting a 5-inch action hero, these guys' last figures were the best options were the bicycle figures. Otherwise, you had the weird mutant 5-inch figures or the flippables, which also had the weird mutant puff bodies. So this guy, for the most part, is well done. Again, I think his helmet is a little bit off. It doesn't bother me as much as Blue's for whatever reason, but it's a little bit off, but not really bothersome. That's much more nitpicky, personal territory. But everything else, they did a pretty good job on. The gold here, very nice. This is a little bit distracting because it clashes with that so directly. But I can live with it. It's fine. It's not a huge deal. For the most part, I think he's well done. Same articulation. I'm probably a little bit grading on a curve just because, again, these guys were in such a need of an update. It's really nice to have a good-looking Zeo figures. I know I'm going to get people complaining about the muscle thing, but I don't care about it. Like, we've toned them way down. Like, go look at the Time Force ones and then come back to me. Like, just... I'm fine with it. Like, so I don't want to hear about that. Just, I mean, sure, you can say whatever you want, but I don't care about that. I think they're a pretty good balance. Would I prefer the Jungle Fury mold that's more accurate to the way they look in the show? Sure, but this is fine. That's far from our biggest issue with these. They both come with their little sidearms, which are actually well painted, which is weird. Not that they're well painted, but that the camera's all about Connor and does not give a crap about the Zeo Blaster. But that you have this wave where if you're... I'm just leaving all these off. I'm done. Where you're getting Zeo and Dino Thunder, but only half of the team's weapons are painted. I mean, granted, there's not a lot to do with these. This might be missing something. But Dino Thunders just seems so obvious. Whereas this one is, like, at least, even if it's missing something, it's not, like, immediately that I notice it. I'm like, oh, yeah, that looks weird. Okay, now let's get to the most popular boy in the bunch. Both in the figure sense of talking about him, and he's a very, very popular Ranger, for sure. So the big controversy around this dude is, as you can see, his gold armor is far from gold. It's more like a... I don't even know. It's like if you mashed P up with brown and like a really poor man's gold. I don't know. It's like a hard color to describe. Like I look at it and I just turn into that confusing math meme. But here's why this is a problem. They have demonstrated that they can do this. They also did this with the White Ranger. I didn't bring him in because I'm lazy, but he also had chest armor with gold paint. And the White Ranger, you could say, oh, well, but a lot of it's black. This one is almost... he has a little bit more surface area, but kablite sight. And not to mention, in the same wave, you have Gold Zeo over here with the gold chest painted. This guy's a little bit lesser, but their symbols and their collars are detailed with the gold paint. And then you get this guy. Okay, to be honest, I actually don't think it looks as bad as I originally thought. A lot of it's inexcusable, which I'll get to in a second, but just standalone looking at this guy, based on having seen tons of pictures of this, it's actually not as bad. But the thing that makes it stand out is just the price point and that these are being sold, as a high-end collector's line, and the fact that there are other things in this line that have gold that they've actually painted it. If this was the way they always did it, it would be easier to swallow. And this is already glaring, but it's the fact that dudes in the same wave with him have the correct paint. That makes it upsetting. Like I said, it's actually, like if this was just a standalone figure, it would be, okay, that's fine. You know, it sucks, but it's not that bad, and it's still decent-ish looking, but there's a problem with it. Also, the Super Legends Chaser figure, which are still probably my favorite older season collectible figures, also had a better paint job. I don't have that with me, I'm sorry, but if you've been collecting a long time, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, let's pick him up. I've just been pointing the camera at him and talking. I just will not stop talking. But then again, this is not a silent film, it's a review. But yeah, setting that aside, this actually is a little bit darker than I thought it was. Again, it would look so amazing if it was gold, and people have done customs, they'll look good, but you shouldn't have to do that, you know? The helmet, for the most part, I think is pretty well done. I think that the Legacy, or the Super Legends one was better, and there has been better ones, but it's not a huge issue. Same articulation. The gold paint on this seems a little bit better than this, but I think it's at least roughly the same. And it doesn't look half bad, the staff itself. But yeah, And I have a little bit of a loose arm joint problem here, but other than that, he's basically the same with slightly hindered from there. But yeah, you can see why he's the problem. Okay, little end rant and final verdict here, so brace yourselves. So I don't want to hear the nonsense from Bandai about they need to save money by cutting corners with paint. I don't care who did a video or an interview, it's fake news. I hate to use that term, but exactly, Adam, you get the picture, underwears. But the thing is, it's one thing, I've had to argue in my videos for years and explain to people why we don't get the $60, $70 mecha here. Because just the way our economy is, parents just don't easily buy you a Q Reno for 70 bucks. But they will buy you a $20 Ninja Steel Megazord. And there's been hits and misses, but I think for the most part we do a pretty good job for a more affordable thing. That's one thing, arguing about the differences between Japan's toy buying habits and ours. It's a whole different country. Sentai is more popular there in a lot of ways. But this is the type of figure line where I can walk 2 steps and see another figure line of Marvel doing this. Another 2 steps, DC. Another 3 steps, Star Wars. Another 4 steps, another line that I don't know a franchise of. But there's 3 to 5 examples of similar collectibles with a 6.5-inch figure, well detailed. They come with signature weapons. They come with alternate heads. They come with alternate hands. They come with a Build-A-Figure. Oh, I almost forgot. This comes with the Build-A-Figure. Let's pause the rant here, guys. So this is one of the Zeo main parts, which it's a noticeable step down. It's not awful, but it's a noticeable step down. It looks cheaper than the alternatives we've got. Here is Triceratop's arm, which also seems like a noticeable step down, and a bit more stylized than we've usually been getting. One funny thing is you can move this down and almost have a full moving little dinosaur. I almost just put this together, but the joints are kind of a pain. And here's T-Rex's, which I think is the cheapest looking because it's really missing that detail on the arm, which makes it not just look like a piece of red plastic. So yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, resume rant. My point is, I'm sure that I'm not pretending to be an expert, but I can almost with certainty say that they can figure something out because there are numerous people in the same country doing the same thing. They have to be able to figure something out. I would be willing to pay a little bit more, but not much. I've seen people say I'd be willing to pay 25 or 30 bucks to get everything. I don't think we should have to do that when I can go buy a Thor figure or a Kylo Ren figure right now for 20 bucks and they give me alternate hands. Even just alternate hands would make these better. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm just saying, to me, that's a bunch of nonsense because this is not comparing Japan to America. This is comparing me looking at this toy and turning around and seeing the same offering for a reasonable price. So I'm sorry I had to go on such a rant, but this is the first wave that's really bothered me. I've liked this line for the most part, and there's been little problems, but this one really was just like, wow. Wow, Bob. Wow. Anyway, that's about it. I'm sorry that I included a rant here at the end. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Dawson Ryder, signing out.